the road. Somebody must be there to monitor what is happening. And so I am not too worried about that. I welcome this move wholeheartedly. I have no objection whatsoever because I know what our students have been going through. I know what parents have been going through, because when a child is sent to school and you are worried that the child is going to reach home or not, then there must be cause for concern. And so the parents will welcome it wholeheartedly as well.
The rural school bus program will be equipped with real-time tracking and cameras to effectively monitor the location of the buses. It will also have a warden on board to help maintain order and safety during The bus program will also have a warden on board to help maintain order and safety during the rides. Head of the JCF's Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, ACP Gary McKenzie, is urging motorists to reduce their speed while traversing the nation's roads. His call follows reports that 5 taxi drivers were killed in a motor vehicle crash on Sunday morning.
If you're familiar with the history of my school in particular, we've suffered many years the loss of lives of our students due to what I would say irresponsible or reckless driving, and also what I would consider to be inappropriate ways or means of transporting our students. So we've lost quite a number of students. And so I am super excited about this initiative, and I'm really looking forward to its rollout.
ACP Dr. Gary McKenzie, head of the JCF's Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch. The deadly crash occurred on the Salt Marsh Main Road in Trelawney. It's reported the vehicle flipped several times before slamming into a concrete pole. The 5 deaths brings to 194 the number of Jamaicans killed in fatal crashes since the start of the year. That's a 5% decline compared to the corresponding period last year. And there's been a 41% decline in murders since the start of the year. The latest crime data from the Jamaica Constabulary Force says 356 homicides had been committed between January 1 and July 7. That's 247 fewer than the 603 murders recorded in the corresponding period last year. St. Andrews South Police Division continues to be a hotspot. It leads the country's murder tally with 47. On the flip side, the St. James Police has recorded the biggest drop in homicides. According to the JCF, the division recorded only 30 murders compared to the 74 committed during the similar period last year. That's a drop of 60%. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. Sports is next.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jack on my figure, dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Weed whacker figure, trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slive Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jackson, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
50 years of dreams, 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. The second staging of the West Indies Rising Stars Under-19 Women's Cricket Tournament bowls off on Tuesday in Trinidad and Tobago. Jamaica will open their campaign against Guyana at the Diego Martin Sports Complex, and it starts at 8:30 Jamaica time tomorrow morning. In other games on the opening day, host Trinidad and Tobago will battle the Leeward Islands at the Sir Frank Royal Memorial Ground in St. Augustine, while the Windward Islands will face off with Barbados at the National Cricket Centre in Couva. The games will be played over 30 overs aside. South African batsman Wiaan Mulder, who came within 34 runs of breaking Brian Lara's iconic World Test batting record of 400 runs, says it's only fair that Lara keeps the record. Mulder, leading South Africa for the first time, declared on himself at lunch on day 2 of the second test against Zimbabwe in Bulawayo on 367 not out. He was at 33 runs behind the 400 not out the West Indies legend Lara made against England in Antigua in 2004. The 27-year-old opted against going for the record, instead declaring South Africa's first innings on a massive 626 for 5, and said it was in the team's best interest, but also to respect Lara's legendary status in the game. Mulder says Brian Lara is a legend, and for someone of that stature to keep that record is pretty special. Mulder says if he gets the chance again, he'd probably do the same thing. He said he spoke to his coach, Shukri Conrad, about it, and the coach pretty much went with it. He said, let the legends keep the really big scores. Mulder instead ended with the 5th highest individual score and best by a South African, Brian Lara at 400, Matthew Hayden 380, Lara again at 375, and Mahela Jayawardena 374, along with Mulder now the top 5. Mulder began the day on 264 out of South Africa's overnight 465 for 4. On the opening day, he was bowled when he was on 247 by Zimbabwe's Tanaka Chivanga, only for replays to show Chivanga had overstepped for a no ball. His triple century was the only second one by a South African after Hashim Amla's 311 not out against England at the Oval in 2012. Mulder reached a 300 from 297 balls, the second fastest in Test cricket after the 278 taken by India's Virendra Sehwag against South Africa in 2008. Newly elected president of Netball Jamaica, Karen Ball, says tackling netball at the parish level is one of the main areas of focus for her administration. Ball, a long-time marketing and sponsorship director at the association, was elected unopposed at the annual general meeting on Saturday.
One of the things we had spoken a lot about was the establishment of a committee to try and address the parish organization and to help them, the ones who are already almost ready, to come into the fold and to explore ways for the others to be set up, over time.
Ball will be joined by our first Vice President, Simone Forbes, second Vice President, Dwayne Gutzmer, and Elaine Walters as Treasurer. The executive is completed by 6 directors: Tashika Summon, Derek Brown, Karen Wood-Stanley, Carleen Waugh, Suzette Townsend, and Denise Palmer. Champions Fraser's Whip will continue their dominance. Well, they continue their dominance in the Jamaica Women's Premier League, beating Real Mobay by 8-0 at the weekend. Davia Richards scored a hat-trick. Destiny Powell had a brace, while Shantae Price, Raquana Richards, and Nevergale Abel scored a goal apiece. Fraser's Whip has now scored 115 goals while conceding 6. In other results, Los Perfectos blanked UWI Women 7-0, Cavalier beat Wi-Fi United 6-0, and Mile Gully edged Springers United by 2-1. Derek Smith, owner of the 2025 Jamaica St. Leger winner I Dream Again, is still at a loss for words following his latest classic victory. The veteran owner, a day after the triumph display, shared that the performance from the stallion was simply amazing and allowed him to capture the St. Leger title that had eluded him in previous years thanks to a brilliant ride from the experienced Robert Hardball Hallidine.
It's a feeling that, as I said, difficult. It takes you out of this world. Fortunately for me, it's not the first time that I've had that feeling and that I've won other major races previously. But it doesn't come, that feeling doesn't come around regularly. In fact, the last time I've had that feeling was 10 years before yesterday.
Smith further stated that due to the period of time when I Dream Again was born, the Thoroughbred's introduction into racing was delayed.
Most Thoroughbreds in racing are born between late January and April, May. He was born in June.
Derek Smith, owner of I Dream Again, winner of the 99th running of the Jamaica St. Leger. A devastated Grigor Dimitrov left Wimbledon in tears after being forced to retire injured when 2 setups on the world number 1, Yannick Sinner. Bulgaria's Dimitrov led an enthralling contest 6-3, 7-5, 2-2 before he fell to the floor holding his right pectoral after serving an ace. He appeared to be in serious discomfort following the incident, and Sinner immediately rushed over to help. Dimitrov received medical treatment after returning to his chair and then briefly left court before returning in tears to shake Sinner's hand. He left center court to a standing ovation but was barely able to lift his right arm to wave in appreciation, with Sinner accompanying him off the court. It is the latest in a string of injury struggles for the 34-year-old, who retired injured from his first-round matches at the Australian and French Opens. It means that the Italian top seed Sinner is into the quarterfinals at SW19 for a second time, but the 3-time major winner said afterwards that it was not the way he really wanted to get in it. Champions Manchester Spurs and Under-21 Shiners were winners in Sunday's round of matches in the Red Stripe Flavors Elite Netball League at the Stadium Court. The Shiners, who are using the tournament as part of their preparation for the 2025 Netball World Youth Cup, beat the St. Catherine Racers 33-48 to register their second win of the season. Coach of the Shiners, Annette Daly, says the players are auditioning for a spot on the team.
The young ladies are on trials because they're actually the under-21. So they are on trials, and we have been rotating players in different positions in order for the selectors to see. So it's not about targeting a team, really. It's just playing different combinations and to see what we're getting and to give the ladies enough time on court so that the selectors can make their decisions.
Daly says she is not surprised by the 15-point win.
I know that they have it within them to give that score line, and we have been working on the accuracy because we have not been pleased about the shooting stats that we have been getting, and today proved that the hard work is paying off. We just want to continue to do that.
That's Annette Daly. Meanwhile, the Spurs came away with a narrow 47-42 win over Kingston Hummingbirds. In a game that saw the lead change continuously between the teams, the Spurs were able to secure victory in the final 3 minutes. Coach of the Spurs is Dalton Hines.
They performed very well. A little inconsistent and a little indiscipline crept in here and there. However, they managed to grind it out, and we are happy with the win. Well, you have to be worried in a close game. I thought that we were a little bit undisciplined in the attack, but we had the technical timeout. We talked about some stuff. We made some changes. The opposition never respond quickly.
That's Coach Dalton Hines. And finally in sports at this time, 4 sets of doubleheaders are scheduled for tomorrow's first round of games in the GK1 Howard McCarthy Community Basketball League at Excelsior Courts. Lycon Athletics will tussle against Nanivale Youth at 6 p.m. before the host team Exed Heat play Tivoli Gardens. Spanish Town Spartans will welcome Stats 79ers at Grantspen Court, after which Grantspen will take on Majesty Gardens Legend. Edgewater Wolverines will be at home against Bridgeport, while Phoenix Net Strippers will play CBA, and Hellshire will take on Delacree Park, with UWI welcoming the JCF. At sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:19.
We don't want to have a security force where people fear our police more than they fear gunmen. Every officer here, what they really want when they walk out in their community is that people say, I want my son to follow in your footsteps. They want respect, and they know they can't get that respect if people just fear them as though they fear criminals. So let us invest in building a security force that we can all be proud of. I want the security force that we are building to have ultimate and utmost respect for human rights. Let us make our JCF the force for good, the force to protect us. There were transgressions in the past. There are members of the force who they haven't got the memo yet, but I'm certain that the system that is in place in the JCF with the new leadership and command, that when officers violate, they will be dealt with. This is a world-class policing institution that we are building, one in which you can be proud and one that will be an example for the rest of the region.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Are your devices accurate? Are they calibrated? Even small errors can lead to big problems. That's why Jamaicans trust the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. From food to fuel, health to hardware, our metrology and testing division provides world-class calibration and measurement services to keep your devices precise and your business meeting global standards. Whether you're weighing goods, monitoring temperature, or relying on the accuracy of devices, we get it right every time. Our advanced equipment and experts help you move with confidence. Call 876-618-1534 or visit bsj.org.jm. The Bureau of Standards Jamaica. From lab to market, the power of precision, powering accuracy, ensuring safety.
Attention registered voters! Remember to collect your renewed voter ID card before the upcoming general election. If you registered to vote in 2016 or after and did not get your new ID card, it may have been automatically renewed. Simply visit your EOJ constituency office to collect your voter ID card. Contact the Electoral Office of Jamaica at 888-991-VOTE or 922-0425-9 for more information.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, by God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path. Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Roby Ann Williams. A special good evening to our friends over on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a new week. It's Monday, the 7th of July, 2025. Thank you so much for joining us. Now let's get to it. It's been the talk. The rural school bus program, it's been the talk. Now, PNP President Mark Golding has dismissed the rural bus service as the importation of what he describes as 100 old buses. He made the remark while addressing comrades in East Portland recently.
You know, I see they're bringing in 100 old buses with some very confused arithmetic as to how many students will be carried. It doesn't augur well for what is to come in September. But our plan is to fund a subsidy for 20,000 families in rural Jamaica. We will start with that to provide them with support, cash support every week for their children to go to school and come home. And as the economy improves, we will increase those numbers so that every child will be able to attend school 5 days a week without having to fret.
Mark Golding, opposition leader. 100 school buses are expected to be brought in to operation for rural children across the country come September. The proposed bus program is now the subject, like I said before, of a full-blown political row. Every platform they go on, with the opposition dismissing it as a dangerous plan to transport children. The opposition is instead proposing to pay private bus and taxi operators to transport rural children. So in Public Opinion this evening, we're asking you, the people, what's your reaction to the PNP's criticism of the government's rural school bus program? I'll start with the comments on our Facebook platform. Gonna try to get through most of them. So let's go. Jason Stewart is saying it's a political own goal. That's what it is, a political own goal. Velma Thomas, I'm a comrade. And the rural school bus system is the best thing the government could ever do with our tax dollars. Our children should be somewhat safer to and from school, and with that $50 fare, it's great. I'm only hoping that they're not just doing it because of the upcoming election, and after the election, we don't want to hear that the government privatized it because of cost to the country's purse. Donald Martin is questioning, are the Probox, AD wagons, Voxy, and Noah new? If the PNP should lead, will they sell these buses? Dennis Fort is saying confusing. The leader of the opposition is saying one thing, then his spokesman is saying something else. Wanna make up on a mind? Pure confusion. Ed Wallace is saying this is the list of our main exports. And he's going on to another. I guess there is something in there, but I can't read all of it. Let's see. Donovan Denval is saying it would have been so much more beneficial to have the PNP had they not took up this initiative of the government and turn it into a political football because they scored an own goal with not even 5 minutes yet into the game. The PNP seriously need to think logically before making public utterances, because the more they talk, it's the less the electorate show interest in their party. Dean Stainless is saying, I was planning on voting, but after how they're fighting against the school bus system. Judith Thorpe is saying, you asking, but I'm asking. Let me see. No, that one don't translate properly. All right, let's see. J Mac is saying, we are glad the buses are here. The parents will be happy that their children will be safer to and from school. PNP has lost it. UIC is a better opposition, says Shanice Comfort. Christopher Isaacs is saying, it's a force for chaos and backwardness. Yeah. Frasout say, my pitney na go in an AD wagon. All right. Stay away from liquor before giving public speech, saying Clifton Ricardo Russell. Xavier Chin say, go with them for go. Clearly, this is a game changer for parents, both laborites and comrades. It's simply sour grape mentality, says Jeffrey Sup Campbell. Donna believes that they are shameless, just mind-boggling and mind-blowing, says Christopher Isaacs. Your reaction to the PNP's criticism of the government's rural school bus program on Instagram, Nikki Foodie say empty barrel make the most noise. Reedy Marie is saying the school buses are long overdue. This is a great move by the current administration. I can't wait to see the nation's children boarding these buses in an orderly manner in September. Campbell saying the PNP's criticism of a rural school bus initiative only proves how disconnected they are from the everyday struggles of ordinary Jamaicans. Parents are tired of placing their children's lives in the hands of these taxi drivers. We deserve a safe, structured, and reliable transportation system, not more political games. Supermom saying that they should be supporting the system. Look what took place the other day on a bus where the adult and some students were in argument, which didn't turn out so nice. KD believes it's an excellent initiative and long overdue. Hey, it's Lady Cutchinson says she can't say how she really feel, to be honest. She can't say it. It's not for public hearing. All right, let me see if I can go to some of the comments on our X platform. Graham Jervis says, throwing any and everything at the wall and hoping something sticks. Insult to the people's intelligence. In all my years, I have never heard a more ridiculous, poorly thought out plan as the one proposed by the PNP as an alternative. All right. It's low down and completely disgusting. That's according to General Hines. Let me see if I can get some of the comments on our YouTube platform. What's your reaction to the PNP's criticism of the government's rural school bus program? To that, the people say, Kern Smith saying they criticize until they don't know what to criticize. Yeah, remember, let me see if I can get so happy for those children who will benefit. It's a conscious, sober move, says Faith Fabulous. M. Morant, the attacks are unfortunate. These buses are some of the safest vehicles on the road and are held to the strictest maintenance standards by the various state departments. Do not ever talk about the PNP. Tyrell Thompson saying time done. Let me see if I can get in a few more here. One word from Ronald Grant. That word is bad mind. Donovan Phillips, the first best bus system in Jamaica. Can't wait to see our kids traveling safe and secure out of the ways of the predators that prey upon our children. Let me see. Carlene says, okay, you're responding to something else there. Baseless, this is coming from Mr. Peart, baseless and ignorant, and the utterances from the PNP. The children will get to school on time and in a safe environment, says Marlene Hutchinson. All right, tell the PNP spokesperson to stop. Okay, Colin White, I see you there. Willow Will believes the PNP is getting off. Simply put, let me see, just one word from Arlene also, bad mind. All right, let me see, the PNP is not being responsible, says Robert Lewis. Let me see something here from K. Ambitious saying Mark and colleagues are stage 4 madness. Let me see. PNP gonna need to take over for real or from the risers. Political analyst believes there needs to be a change of leadership for the PNP. Carlene Smith saying to us that it is a welcomed move. What will the buses be used for should the PNP win? I want to know. It's a let us see. If and when. It's a let us see. Yeah. Getting the wrap-up signal here, trying to see if I can squeeze in a few more. So happy for those children, Faith says. PNP needs a change of leadership. Read that one already. Yeah. Let us see what will happen. Let us see what will happen. I believe that the Minister of Transport, Darrell Vaz, there is a scheduled press conference of some sort to be held concerning this bus system that has taken a whole different turn. Get it? Bus system, whole different turn. All right. Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:33.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston and 30 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. President Donald Trump has said he plans to impose a raft of tariffs on goods entering the U.S. from 14 countries, including Japan and South Korea. The latest escalation on global trade by Trump came as the 90-day pause the White House placed on some of its most aggressive import taxes was set to expire. Now, the president announced plans for a 25% tax on products entering the country from Japan and South Korea, and shared a batch of other letters to world leaders warning of levies commencing from August 1. Higher tariffs had been set to come into effect on July 9, having previously been suspended, with White House officials saying they would look to strike trade deals. In the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 160 Jamaican dollars and 76 cents to buy $1 US, 220 Jamaican dollars and 23 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 118 Jamaican dollars and 51 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
We are the best at what we do. At Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, we supply hose fittings and tools. We guarantee we can't be beaten when price and quality are combined. You brand us the Hose and Tool Boss because we deliver the most effective industrial solutions. Come in and experience the joy of shopping with Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. Call us 876-923-3936 or visit 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charlesworth Crescent or Montego Bay Trade Center. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. More than just hoses. Now open every Sunday.
In Jamaica, your rights are protected by our Constitution. From the right to education to freedom of expression, every citizen deserves respect and dignity. But remember, with rights come responsibilities. Let's uplift and respect each other and stand against injustice. Together, we can make Jamaica a better place for ourselves and future generations. Know your rights. Embrace your responsibilities. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
Calling all businesses. Nationwide 90 FM's Back to School Fair is heading to Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay on Saturday, July 26th, and your brand should be there. With families from St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Trelawney, and St. Elizabeth expected to attend, it's the perfect chance to connect directly with back-to-school shoppers. Contact us at sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com or call 876-630-1210 to book your vendor space today.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere, spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Still sweating with that old fan? It's time to upgrade! Meet Glacier, the AC unit that thinks for you. Energy efficient to slash your power bill. Wi-Fi enabled so you can control it from your phone. And self-cleaning because you've got better things to do. Powerful, smart, hassle-free. Call now at 876-923-6521-3. Gaddy's Refrigeration Limited, delivering the perfect cooling solution tailored to your needs.
Why rush around town for back-to-school shopping? Nationwide 90 FM is making it easy at our back-to-school fair. Come get your child measured for uniforms, check their shoe size, and purchase essentials right there on the spot. St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Trelawney, St. Elizabeth. We've got everything in one place just for you. That's Saturday, July 26, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. The Nationwide 90 FM Back-to-School Fair.
It's in the public's interest. It's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Good evening. It's 20 minutes going up to 7 o'clock. We're going to turn now to the nation's business, where it's a heads of government meeting taking place in Montego Bay at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James on Jamaica's northern coast. The CARICOM heads are here and they are getting down to business. I just saw where the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, in an on the sidelines interview, making the point that the rest of the Caribbean has much to learn now from Jamaica in dealing with crime. He's quoted as saying, Jamaica is ahead of all of us when it comes to crime. Let me find the exact quote. It's being reported by the Gleaner newspaper. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves has praised Jamaica for its advances in using technology to combat crime. Quoting Gonsalves, you're doing some splendid work using modern technology to solve crime and bring perpetrators to justice. Jamaica, he says, is ahead of all of us in the Caribbean. We have to learn from Jamaica. He also commended Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who assumed CARICOM's rotating chairmanship on Sunday for prioritizing crime and public safety across the region. It's an important focus, Gonsalves said. Among some of our countries, what we're witnessing is almost a low-intensity civil war between various groups. Some call them gangs, some call them associational groupings. Whatever we call them, we need to act fast. That's from Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. And the outgoing chair of CARICOM, the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, says, the price of sovereignty is our ability to control information and content. She was addressing the opening of the conference yesterday.
I have not spoken to you today about the necessary work of the reform of the governance of this community and the funding of this community, because I believe that the heads of government must confront it and not believe that we can continue to wear the garbs of 20 and 30 years ago as we live in a world that is completely different today. And we must find the boldness, I believe our preacher told us today, Bishop Pitkin, when you said to us, let us have the boldness to move thought into action. Because without that, our region will not be ready for the defense of small states. It is my view that in the absence of an international rules-based order, and we are seeing it being threatened day by day, In the absence of an international rules-based order, countries such as ours will find it difficult to survive. And this, my friends, is the first real threat that we have had since becoming independent nations. The notion that others may want to conquer again is not beyond their imagination and not beyond our reality. But equally, the price of sovereignty is no longer simply that which we have started to do in the first 2 or 3 generations since independence. The price of sovereignty now extends to our ability to control our information and to generate our content. We have to be able to own our own satellites and not be the victim of somebody pulling them on us because they do not like the position we took on a war across the world somewhere or someplace. We have to generate our own content because it is only us who know our reality, and we cannot simply be the victims of other people's judgment as to who we are and what we stand for. And if we don't do these things, then we will fail to recognize that the new Armada and the new flotilla are not the ships that came and brought our forefathers here under protest. But in fact, the new Armada and the new flotilla is that which will control our mind. And we know what Marcus Mosiah Garvey told us about emancipating our mind from mental slavery. If ever there was a time for us to listen to these entreaties, it is now.
Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados in full flight at the opening of the CARICOM Heads of Government Conference yesterday. She called for a CARICOM blue tick as a verification mechanism to combat fake news. She also used the occasion to call for Caribbean countries to accede to the UK-based Privy Council, Privy Council, to adopt the Caribbean Court of Justice as their final appellate court.
Tomorrow, we shall also receive the completed work on the CARICOM external tariff CET and the rules of origin. And I want to thank all at COTED and Community Council for teeing it up. We did think that you were taking a little long, but it is finally here. The political judgment that has to be made by heads now is what other items that will not compromise regional production that can have the bung rates continue to be reduced so that we can see more progress on the reduction of cost of living, particularly of food and sanitary items. But this meeting will not only see these matters. We have come before our region to speak specifically of other things that are threatening our existence as a region. We live in a world now where fake news, regrettably, is a key part of all that we have, and where the improper use of AI can sometimes stoke great fear and panic among our citizens. It is about time, therefore, that we as a region come up with a CARICOM validation mechanism in the absence of the providers of those platforms not taking the action to validate truth any further. And if we fail to do so, we put seriously at risk the stability of our democracies. In the last 2 weeks alone, my government in Barbados has had to put out as clear fake news, one that sought to ban President Trump from our country, one that sought to impose on Barbados travel advisories that didn't exist. And it is almost as if this is a daily exercise now for our countries, because those who have nothing to do, as we learned as children, the devil finds work for idle hands. We need our own CARICOM blue tick to validate truth in this community. In addition to that, I ask us equally to look at the issue of where we are with respect to citizen security. Today, the heads of government of the Caribbean community met with the heads of judiciary, and we did so as an absolute item of respect on the part of both groupings. It was a historic meeting, and it was one that recognized, as your Chief Justice in Jamaica put it, that it is possible for the judiciary to meet, remain independent, but not isolated from the communities in which they operate. This is so critical, not just for the development of Caribbean jurisprudence, but also for the stability of our democracies. There is no country in this region that is not facing some level of citizen insecurity. And regrettably, I've said over and over, we pay a high price for the Second Amendment rights of the United States of America's citizens. But whatever the cause, the reality is this is where we are. If ever there was a time for us to cooperate, as we discussed today, on matters pertaining to this, and Jamaica has put on the table a regional justice and security framework cooperation agreement, which I believe the rest of us are ready to engage in, because it is consistent with the Needham's Point Declaration of 2023 that was settled by the Caribbean Court of Justice Academy and the judges of the region. It is consistent with the George Bridge Declaration of November 2024 that was settled by the CARICOM heads of government, and it is absolutely needed by our citizens if we are to see safety be the primary concern of our people, from Jamaica and the Bahamas in the north, to Belize in the west, to Barbados in the east, to Guyana and Suriname in the south. And of course, underpinning all of that is that wonderful island chain of the Eastern Caribbean states. We have a duty to our citizens. It would be remiss of me not to salute Winston Anderson, the new president of the Caribbean Court of Justice, and may I say the president of my own Court of Appeal, Final Court of Appeal in Barbados. And you will forgive me, having been the one who was the chair of the preparatory committee for the establishment of the Caribbean Court of Justice. You will forgive me if I now make yet another appeal to the citizens of this region to allow their governments to know that there ought to be a singular purpose for the Caribbean Court of Justice to be truly the last court of appeal for the states of this region.
That's Prime Minister Mia Mottley. On the issue of the final appellate court, the Prime Minister says she believes governments should embark on public education so citizens can be better informed about the necessity of the CCJ.
We are aware that there are some countries that have the requirement of referenda. But this, like everything else, ought to be the subject of public education. And if we can so do, then I believe we can finally start to move the needle generationally for us recognizing that this ought to be our final court. Our reality as small states is not only to be taken into account when dealing with the WTO and the need for special and differential treatment, or the international financial architecture that requires us to move away from the reality of assumptions with historic per capita GDP and not understanding the vulnerability of our countries as small states. But our small, vulnerable states are also to be taken into account with respect to our Caribbean jurisprudence and for how we treat to the issue of citizenship security, particularly as it relates to sensitive matters that will see persons who have been charged continue to move in our communities with impunity and taking action against other citizens with impunity.
The Prime Minister also addressed the cost of living issues in the region. She says this has been exacerbated by wars and conflicts in other parts of the world.
We met and understood that our region, like every other region across the world, is suffering from the vicissitudes of cost of living issues that are making it more difficult for ordinary Caribbean people to make each day and to go through each day and night. And the question for us as heads of government and heads of state is, how do we make it easier for people to sleep? And how do we allow them to be able to undertake that task of taking care of themselves and their families in the most easy of ways, in spite of what has been triggered globally through geopolitical issues and wars and conflict and disruption supplies. We have determined that our agricultural commitment 25 by 25, even if we have not met it fully, has put us in a better place than we were 5 years ago. But what we must not do is to stop, because if we try and try again, we'll succeed at last. Against that backdrop, a number of persons on a trade delegation week before last went to Boa Vista in Brazil to begin to open up the trading relationships that will allow us also to access food and meat at much cheaper prices than we are currently doing so. It is true that the actions of the United States government in their promise to impose tariffs on all Chinese-made ships created a catalyst for movement in a way that we could not find on our own. And if anything, we must thank President Trump and the US Trade Representative for that. Mercifully, there was a stay of execution on the imposition of that tariff a few months ago. And I want to thank the Caribbean Private Sector Organization for working with us as heads of government of the Caribbean community. An amazing 500 members of the private sector went on to a Zoom call, showing that when our vital interests are truly challenged, we know how to find unity in this region. If we cannot open up greater supply routes, if we can increase our domestic production, cognizant, however, that we are constantly at risk of the climate crisis, decimating that which we are trying to do in terms of open field agriculture, then we can begin to recognize that we do have the capacity to feed ourselves more. The bottom line is, however, that there are still too many gaps. And the major issue of logistics, I am happy to report that there are at least 2 CARICOM member states that are now in the process of looking to acquire cargo planes to help us overcome the very difficult prospect of the movement of goods within this region. Equally, I anticipate that at this meeting at Montego Bay, we will have the presentation on the inter-island regional ferry from the private sector. And at this point, it is up to us to determine whether we have the political will to finally ensure that we can democratize travel through ships yet again in this region, knowing full well that with the federal maple and the federal palm, there were examples of it many decades ago, and that we have allowed ourselves to become purely at the mercy of air travel without recognizing that as islands in the Caribbean Sea, we have the ability to reach each other in good time and at cheaper fares than if we only use air to connect our region.
That's the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley. She also expressed disappointment with the waning support for Haiti. She said the stability of the French-speaking country was a major concern of CARICOM under her leadership. Barbados held the CARICOM chairmanship from January 1, 2025. The 6-monthly rotation passed to Jamaica on July 1.
Let me, however, also reflect that over the course of this last 6 months, one of our major concerns was the stability of Haiti. The world really needs a check on itself when it comes to Haiti. If ever we doubted that there were first-class and second-class citizens in the eyes of the world, don't doubt it anymore. In Haiti, more people were killed last year, in many months of last year, than were killed in any other country on earth, including those that were at war and the subject of military conflict. And in spite of that, and in spite of the promises, the world has been unable to move beyond the promises and the platitudes that would bring help to the people of Haiti. I'm not only talking about the loss of life, I'm talking about the displacement of citizens from their homes. I'm talking equally about the food insecurity of the people of Haiti. And let us be real, Our capacity as a Caribbean community has limits, purely because of size and capacity financially. We can help as best we can, as we must. But the world is what is needed as well at this point in time, beyond simply the deployment of troops from Kenya, without the requisite support in terms of machinery that is necessary to ensure that those Kenyan troops and others are not sent like lambs to the slaughter along with the members of the Haitian police force. That Haiti is trying as best it can to be able to withstand the assault by gangs is to be commended. But at the same time, it is not enough. And what is required more than ever is for a truth talk, both within the context of what is possible from Haiti's perspective, but equally what is possible from the international community. And I fear that the absence of that realistic conversation will continue to mean that ordinary citizens will have their lives put at risk. And if not their lives, their limbs, and if not their lives and limbs, their ability to live as dignified human beings. The pace at which progress is needed must be expedited if we are not to see more and more people suffer. At the same time, in the last 6 months, we have had the issue of the spectacle of near difficulties with the border security situation between Guyana and Venezuela. I thank Prime Minister Gonzalez yet again for continuing to play a serious role along with Prime Minister Skerrit in ensuring that we could have the principles of the Argyle Declaration continue to be respected, even if in a tenuous way. And I recognize that this is going to require our continuous vigilance as we go forward, because we are all committed to seeing the Caribbean as a zone of peace at the level of the state and equally at the level of the citizen with respect to citizenship, security, and insecurity.
Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados, addressing the conference of the CARICOM heads yesterday. Earlier today, we played that of the new chair of the grouping, the Jamaican Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Michael Holness. Go ahead.
We're taking a break, listeners, for the Watchman, and then you can come back and have a chat with us. The numbers are 638-937-124 and 618-8255.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group? Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. How to give an apology. The book of Proverbs in the Bible is a collection of short, memorable, and impactful words of wisdom that offer guidance to daily life and peaceful coexistence. One of the best examples is, "A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger." Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1. According to Wikipedia, the meaning of this proverb is a calm, gentle, and kind response to an angry or confrontational situation can prevent conflict from escalating. In other words, if one does or says something that angers others, one should apologize in an attempt to diffuse the tension. Apologizing is not part of the Jamaican culture. Our petty session and criminal courts are filled with cases that could have been avoided by a simple apology. Our tribal politics, especially in the run-up to an election, are a tinderbox for misunderstandings and conflicts that can boil over into violence. It is for this reason that we need the mitigating influence of strong, independent institutions such as the Office of the Political Ombudsman, OPO. The OPO was established under the provisions of the Political Ombudsman Interim Act 2002. Its mandate is to investigate actions by political parties, their members, and supporters, where such actions conceivably violate the political code of conduct. The decision by the government to terminate the OPO and subsume its functions within the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, ECJ, not only knocked out what little teeth it may have had, it also ripped out its tongue, thereby rendering it ineffectual. One has to therefore depend on the good sense of politicians to bridle their tongue, and when that fails, to apologize. In politics, family life, business transactions, or community relations, there are simple rules to follow in making an apology sound sincere. 1. Start by clearly acknowledging what you did wrong. 2. Express regret for the hurt you caused. 3. Take responsibility for what you said or did. 4. Promise to change your behavior to prevent the same mistake from happening again. 5. Ask for forgiveness to heal wounds and to begin a process of reconciliation. In recent days, words spoken from the platform of both political camps have evoked wide public consternation. Whether in attempting to apologize or refusing to apologize, the response from the offending individual and party has been woefully inadequate in diffusing tensions. Listeners, JLP and PNP alike, you be the judge. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio, Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
The National Land Agency will conduct house-to-house title distribution under its systematic land registration program for residents of St. Catherine from June 30 to August 29, 2025. You will need your government-issued ID to receive your title. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. The National Land Agency, one goal.
50 years of dreams, 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Empower your future close to home. Coming soon, the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean opens its latest campus in Morant Bay, St. Thomas. Discover flexible full-time and part-time programs for high school graduates, working professionals, and mature learners. Experience quality accredited education and modern facilities without the commute. Apply now for classes at the UCC Morant Bay campus. Visit ucc.edu.jm to apply. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
Teach your kids smart money habits starting now. Open a student saving account on the spot. Enjoy financial literacy games and get budgeting tips just in time for the new school year. It's all at the nationwide 90 FM Back to School Fair, where families get real value. Saturday, July 26, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. It's the nationwide 90 FM Back to School Fair.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. As I said, we're taking your calls. The time is now 7:09 and the numbers are 630-9371-4 and 618-8255. I understand we have Bobby on the line. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Siobhan. Good evening, Cliff.
Good evening.
Yes, I am a bit upset.
About what?
I am so vexed, but make I leave that one for last. It's two things I'm going to talk about. I hear the committee of the debates commission said that they want $25 million to host this year political debate. To me, that $25 million could go to something more useful. It could go towards children whose parents find it hard for back to school in September. The political debate, as far as I'm concerned, it's a grand waste of time. So I am talking this plainly. Bobby said, I don't support it. Because every year, political leaders come on and they don't get enough time to express what they intend to do if they hold back government. So I think that is a waste of time. It should be scrapped. Now, the other point that I really want to talk about, Cliff and Siobhan, and hear me now, this is not politics. I put the politics out of this. I am defending our nation children. When I hear about the leader of the opposition, and the opposition spokesman and national security come out and said such a baseless thing like this about the school buses that the Andrew Holness administration intend to assist students coming September. Make I tell you something. It leaves a bitter taste in the mouth of the Jamaican people. I would like to ask Mark Golden, Peter Bunting, and even Michael Phillips, if they had, in their time when they used to go to school, if they had to push and go inside of a bus, push and go inside of a pro box, and when them reach school, them sweaty and smell away. This Andrew Holness administration see all of that and intend to ease the burden of parents and students to let the children travel to school in comfort. Those buses, they are going to have AC. And it is the first in the history of Jamaica and administration is going to provide this type of comfort to and from school for our nation children. And you want to tell me that a government in waiting coming out to really discriminate this idea with this baseless talk? Come on, man. Cliff and Siobhan, one thing I want to tell the Jamaican people, don't be like the people in America. Trump in his political campaign, they said if he drop bomb on them over there and them still vote for him. People of Jamaica, especially those who have students going out to school in September and you want the best for your child, I am telling you straight up, do not go to the election center and election day and play a fool. Do not vote for the People's National Party who want to take away the comfort from your children. Vote wisely. Okay then, thank you very much.
Okay, Bobby. How much should I send in my bill?
Huh?
Should I send you my bill?
Sure. I'm sure because I am doing this.
How long you went on for?
Huh?
That was about 4 minutes.
Send me any amount because I am defending the nation children. I am not doing this for the political party. I am doing it for the nation children.
I hear you. All right, Bobby.
I mean, certainly, Mr. Hughes, this topic, it extends well beyond the usual back and forth politicking.
Mm-hmm.
It really impacts a lot of Jamaicans. I mean, even I am old enough or young enough, whichever way you put it, to understand how our school bus system has not, or bus system or transportation system has not treated schoolers very well.
Exactly.
So they...
Everybody can understand it. It's not difficult to understand. Everybody can relate to it. 99.9% of us had to contend with the Jamaican public transport system, or children or adults or women. I heard some women today on social media talking about their experiences on the buses where the man them used to rub up on them. Yes? And it was just despicable. So this is something I don't know what Mark Golding and Peter Bunting are thinking. They're just deaf and disconnected.
I once again, and I think this was a miscalculation on their part, it is a political calculation.
Like big blunder.
Because they believe come election day, they would have the support of the taxi drivers and the bus operators.
Over all the parents?
And as I said, I think it is a very... It is another political calculation that I don't know if they fully understood the gravity of it.
They were trying to play up to the taxi drivers?
Yes.
Well, taxi drivers are parents too, you know. And they know what is right and what is wrong. Oh.
And what troubles me is that the system was not properly explained. This system of subsidies that they tried to announce. Because how do you make sure that once you've given the subsidy to the operators that they are going to utilize that money to pick up the children and etc. Free of charge, as they so put it?
And there's a good reason for that. Because they have not sat down to think through these things, to do the research, and to come up with coherent, sound, rigorous planning. They're winging it. Yeah? You're under pressure on the campaign and you are winging it. And when you wing it, this is the problem you get. Yeah?
Because
they've been lazy.
I can barely expect the taxi operators to stay within the fee schedule that has been already announced and laid as law, let alone ask them to essentially go out of their way to pick up rural school children when they know even with a subsidy they can just get more money by just carrying the adults.
Yeah.
And who is going to sit down and enforce it?
Who's going to manage it?
All these questions have been raised, and then all these questions have been answered by the Rural School Bus Program as announced by Minister Vaz and the government. We'll have a warden on each bus. He announced where the buses are going to travel to and from where. He announced how much you're going to have to pay. It seems that the People's National Party has not thoroughly thought out this plan they've put forward, and are just simply attempting to curry favor while at the same time trying to throw cold water on the bus program as announced by the government. And I think it's just poorly thought out.
Poorly. 17 minutes after 7. Errol, good evening.
What's up, Mr. Hughes?
Good evening, Errol.
Chevron.
Evening, sir.
So them cut you off, Mr. Hughes, the phone a break up. But I never my line alone. Me and more people call and have the same problem.
Yes.
And you know, Mr. Hughes, you see the bus where I carry on Marky G and him crew? From 2011, I see portion of the bus there, I carry them round the country, same way. 2020, Peter Philip use it. How much you hear that?
2011 to now is 14 years.
14 years. From 2011 to 25, you know? You mad?
14.
14.
Yeah, 14 years. That's all.
And Peter Bounty has said the bus them 15 years. So all them no fear that bus when them a grown country with no pop down with them and kill them all. Them a talk about the bus who kill school pick them. We don't understand this man here.
Well, I gather, for example, that the buses in the fleet of the JUTC on average is over 14, 15 years old. Yeah? In the JUTC fleet. Yeah? And that was before the new buses came in, or after the new buses came in. Yeah? And these buses are not going to be so worked as the JUTC buses. They're going to be used basically twice a day.
Essentially.
They're going to be off on the weekends. Yeah, they're going to be off on the holidays. Yeah. They're going to be better maintained. Yeah. They have speed limiters on them. So their useful life is going to be longer. Yeah. One man sent me a message today. He's in the aviation business. He says, ask Mr. Bunting if he knows when he takes a flight, how old is the plane? Because the plane is on average 15 to 20 years old. Before they retire.
That's a very good point.
Peter Bunting just get up on a chat one bag of rubbish. You need to apologize to the Jamaican people, Mr. Hughes, and all of them people that were in the crowd when they talk a jump. They now no pick their gas for September.
And does he not consider what some of the ages on many of these taxis and minibuses that are operating on the streets are? I doubt those are brand new vehicles fresh off the wharf.
But Chevron.
Yes.
Under PJ government, Mr. Hughes can tell you too. Them used to bring some car when they come and cut and come here and then they weld them and join them. You remember them car, Mr. Hughes?
Yes, Errol.
When they car, they cross half gone so.
Yes.
The man never stop a go on and a create clean man. And excitement. So when if them should have been win, because they can't win. What am I do the boss to them?
That's a good question. Now that the buses are here and you're suggesting that, well, they're of no value, you're going to just park them and put in an entirely new system. What of continuity in governance?
This money I take Mali, me tell you, man. All right, Mr. Hughes.
All right, Errol. Good. 20 minutes after 7 o'clock. And this political quarrel is raging across the country. Yes, raging. I see some people are saying, how could the PNP take this position? Yeah, I gather there are furious debates going on within the halls of the People's National Party at this hour over how to deal with this, because this is just draining for the party whatever goodwill they had. Yeah? Omalu, good evening.
Good evening, Cliff. Good evening, Sharon.
Good evening, sir.
You know, I kind of look at it, Cliff, and I asked myself a question and said, why would the PNP take this position, based on this issue? And ask myself, based on what I'm listening to in that campaign speech, where they offer to build houses in swamp and stuff like this. And I'm saying to myself, you have done no tests as to if house can build there, but you're just throwing out things to the Jamaican people, and you're just saying anything and you're opposing anything. Where is your respect for the people? Because if I respect Cliff, I'm not just going to say anything to Cliff. I'm going to say things, offense to Cliff, so I can challenge Cliff's thought that Cliff can give me back a good answer. I really don't think these people have any respect for the people that they stand up in front of when they are talking on these campaign trails.
Yeah.
Really and truly.
Yeah, it betrays a level of laziness, and frankly, carelessness, yeah? And it indicates how they would perform in government.
Pretty much so. And Cliff, I asked myself a question. I said to myself, you name me one program in Jamaica started by the PNP or the JLP, and tell me under which party, because we hear about who love the poor. Any social program here in Jamaica, and I wish any Jamaican can give me the answer to this. Yeah? Either you, Cliff, and Chevron. under any program, any social program in Jamaica, which party the people have been better served under that social program. Any one of the social programs under the Ministry of Labour, any housing program.
Well, I can think of one. It was under the Ministry of Labour that came into being under the Pattison time, and the minister was John Junior. The National Health Fund.
Under the Jamaica Labour Party, it has been served the people of Jamaica better than how it served the people, although they started it.
No, but they started it and it has grown. It has gotten.
Under the Jamaica Labour
no,
Party,
but you have to give them credit for that. That wasn't started.
I'm not taking away their credit from National.
But you asked me to give you one
under the program.
No, but you asked me to give you one that has been successful. I think the NHF under the Pattison administration has been a success story.
It has been a Cliff. Listen to the question. I am not saying it is not a great idea put forward and a success.
It was more than an idea.
Under which government? The government has run the economy so good that it has served the Jamaican people better.
Because the government has been able to pump more resources.
It's not just because the government just pump resources. The government has to put in policy so that the economy...
But I'm agreeing with you. Omalo. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying yes, the range of benefits that one now can access under the NHF has increased because the government of Jamaica and the Jamaica Labour Party is in a position today where it can put more resources. So when it started, those who use the NHF would have access to subsidized drugs, about 10, 15, fewer. Now they have expanded the range because the government has been able to put more resources into it.
Yeah. I think Cliff, it's because the Jamaica Labour Party loves the poor. So the Jamaica Labour Party always do to make the economy in the position to take care of the poor. There is no program in Jamaica started by the PNP that has served Jamaica people better under the PNP than how it served the Jamaican people under the Jamaica Labour Party. None. National Housing Trust, National Health Fund, part program, the increase in your part, and the food program in school. There is no program in Jamaica. So this shows who love the poor. Because if you love the poor, you make sure what is going to take care of the poor. It's not rhetoric, take care of the poor. It is not an idea, implementing an idea, but it's sustaining the idea so that the people can benefit from it. Because without money, the idea can go dead.
So what you're saying is it takes cash to care?
It takes cash to care.
Why? Omalo, I can't fault that. You're on fire.
Yes, and that's what
you're on fire.
Cliff, go and think again. There is none in Jamaica history that has served the Jamaica people better under the PNP, even although they may establish it. Yeah, the Jamaica Labour Party make it better. And Jamaica, you know one thing before I go, Cliff? The Jamaican Labour Party always continue program of the People's National Party that serve the Jamaican people. It is not Andrew Holness' ideology to take what is good from the people of Jamaica. Yeah?
Yes, Omalo. Blue tick for you, Omalo. Blue tick for you. Blue tick for you, Omalo. Go to the top of the class.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Why? Political education at work. Jimmy?
Yes, sir. Evening.
Good evening, Jimmy.
You on
It's Siobhan, Jimmy. How are you doing?
Not bad. Well, he spoke of social programs, but also salaries for civil servants, teachers, nurses, and all these things. If the economy didn't perform well, they couldn't be able to. They wouldn't be able to raise those people's salaries.
Yes.
And JTA started under the PNP. You know, and a lot of the unions are PNP. Maybe it's only one union you have, but that is not supportive of the PNP. You know, so everything that because what they do, it's a socialist party, so they will always, what you call it, empathizing word with the poor. But the love for the poor is different, under different parties. One is, how can I help the poor? How can I get the poor a job? How can I make the poor lift themselves? Different from how can I give the poor some food?
One is about distribution of benefits, not about the generation of wealth, so that you can create benefits to distribute.
Good point, but guess what, Chris? They say, well, the same socialist party say, well, can I neither be created nor destroyed, So when you start distributing it, you know that it's going to dwindle.
But I don't think the PNP today can credibly say it's a socialist party.
I think they even struggle with that label at times at this point. I think they themselves struggle with that label at times.
I heard Mark saying it.
It's part of the problem the PNP is having, that it has not really forged an identity, a mission, in 21st century global village. They really don't know what they're about, and they've been intellectually lazy to sit down and to think through whatever happened to the Bogues report. Have you seen that report?
No, I know that they commissioned it. I know it was completed, but I never saw the fulsomeness of that document. And I believe our politics is very much pragmatic nowadays, that these terms, socialist, capitalist, they don't really apply. I think people are more interested
I don't agree with you, Sevan.
You think those things have applications in Jamaican politics today?
That is what caused the problem all the time. When in 89, they said they were going to do continuity and follow Mr. Seaga policy. That's why the Bush jacket was taken off, and it was a total mess. Even B.K. Duncan himself says, you can't manage a capitalistic economy like Seaga, so might as well give it back to him. And he that was manifest in very short time, FinTech and everything.
But let's look back now.
Around, and then Cliff Hughes and Ian Boyne was around, pushing up Pew Smalls and these people.
Pushing up who?
Pew Smalls and these people so they can do the work that Mr. Seaga was doing. And they didn't have a clue.
But that's still back in the day, no. That's still back in the day. We're talking 21st century Jamaica. I mean, let's look at it. Would a socialist government do what the things that were did in terms of getting the economy back on track in 2008 and 2013? And when you look at the JLP government, which has expanded much of the country's social safety network and benefits over the years, does that sound like the kind of laissez-faire capitalistic things that you'd expect from a capitalist-aligned government? I don't know if those terms really apply anymore.
Don't think socialists have to establish or declare socialism. It's just a way of thinking, it's a philosophical
I understand it, but we're talking about in terms of its usefulness in governance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it so much has that application, and I don't know if Jamaicans understand that application in 21st century politics. I think it's more down to what is the government doing for me today to make my life better. I think it really boils down to that.
Always socialists saying that they can do better for you than what the capitalist is doing, because the capitalist is one that creates the environment for them to get jobs. When people get jobs in the private sector, they don't associate it with the government, But the socialist now is the one who doesn't to welcome the capitalist and the entrepreneur. He actually teach your hatred for the entrepreneur and tell you that I am the one who has power to give you all the things you need. That is so socialism. And so
interesting.
Making all of those big promises, he's taking away the power gone from the private sector back into the government hands.
But what if I were to tell you, sir, that frankly I think the Wholeness administration, in terms of has been economically, fiscally prudent, socially, it has been more in terms of social programs. Left of center.
They've done far more to expand our social infrastructure than people at this point
than the People's National Party.
Goal, Cliff, that is always the ultimate goal, to have social benefits for the people, but how do you achieve it? That is the problem.
Yes,
Some
and
people achieve
I'm
it by
saying to you that when you look at the two parties now, the PNP and the JLP, especially the JLP under wholeness, and I make that distinction, under wholeness, yes, he has moved the Labour Party virtually to the center, if not just to the left of center of the body politic today. You look at the range of social benefits that he has innovated and or improved upon or expanded. Yeah.
Well, if you're just looking on that, the achievement, but in terms of the steps toward getting there.
Well, he has been smart and pragmatic enough to realize that he cannot produce benefits without running the economy well and running surpluses.
But that is always the JLP's approach.
Exactly, but not necessarily.
But
yeah.
I've never seen the PNP taking that approach.
No, you're wedded to this PNP JLP. I'm trying to move beyond that.
I understand what you're saying, but then I'm saying that these people are driven by a philosophy. But please, it's not even that I call you to talk to you about,
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to be short. It's Mr. Brogard himself who bring on this competition on himself, because he would have had no competition if he was not politically slight. I could justify what the point I've just made, but I mean...
What do you mean by politically slight?
When they were going around on the road for 3 years straight and calling him thief and all that, him think that it wouldn't have an effect on him now. Right now, when you go on the road, everybody is saying that he's a thief. And then guess what? He concentrates the government on himself so much that you don't hear about the Ed Bartletts or the other people who are doing very well. So everything is him. Mm-hmm. So all the PNP needed to do was to find a way to attack him. Mm-hmm. And once you cut him down, you cut down the whole party. Mm-hmm. It's a bad calculation. And then when he knew that they were going around lying on him and all these things, calling him thief. But he was in Parliament saying, okay, when I'm ready and to step it up, them have to go quarter or something like that, in my word. But that is what caused the competition to be on. He has no is what PNP is selling messages. What he has work. Mm-hmm. What about the message? The message against the message, counter message, would have put his work so far ahead. Mm-hmm. And there would be no competition, none whatsoever. I have a few other things. Chris, you actually blocked me off your chat.
Which chat?
Your chat.
Which chat?
You're talking YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah.
That means you do something that was egregious.
No, I never normally do anything that is egregious.
Some of you go on too bad. I want to put you in trouble.
No, man, I would never do that. I'm a multi-trained person. I know the
What is your name on YouTube?
I don't want to call.
You're afraid of your record.
No, man. I'm never gone the extreme. I might be strong. Uh-huh. I'm always strong. And
we have to moderate it, because...
You always call my name and say, okay, whatever.
You can't tell me your name, though.
No, not on here.
Oh. Go on about your business. Behave yourself. All right, sir.
Devon, good evening.
Devon?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Hughes. Good evening, Mr. Hughes and Chevron.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, I just have this to say. Is Mr. Bunting and Mark Golding, have their kids ever drive on public passenger bus?
I highly doubt that.
Yes.
Because I can remember, Mr. Hughes, when I was going to school, you have to stand up. These buses don't want to take you because your money was small. You have a thing in the bus, they call it the firewall. That's where they put you to sit. And your bottom burn you got to be twist and turning. You reach to school late. Mm-hmm. Everything.
No schoolers. I remember that phrase. No schoolers. Schoolers step back.
No schoolers. You got to step back. Mm-hmm. And when a adult come into the bus, you have to stand up and give them the seat. Mm-hmm. Because their money is bigger than you. Mm-hmm. And back in going to school All the girls, they got the lap up in the guys' their lap. All those stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there. I live it. I've seen it.
All of us have, and that's the thing. It's a very evocative topic in Jamaica because all of us have those stories.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder the fight that they pick, if they pick the choices, the fight that they want to pick.
It's just politically stupid, sir. They're being politically stupid. Yeah.
It is very stupid.
Mm-hmm. And they're going.
Another thing
they may very well live to regret that on the weekend.
Oh yeah, no, they are going.
Just let me finish. Just let me finish. They may very well live to regret that on the weekend of July 5 and July 6, they lost the elections.
Because of a stupid fight they're trying to pick.
Yeah.
And also over the weekend, I heard this Mr. Newell is the aspirant for the Central St. Mary. Talking about housing solution. But Mr. Hughes, Central St. Mary is ruled under the PNP for 55 years. The present member of parliament over 22 years. And he's talking about the present government didn't provide housing solution for them. Where did he get that from? But he got to remember that the present MP was the Minister of Housing. Mm-hmm. So why didn't do it?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes, Central St. Mary is a mess.
Yeah, it has voted consistently for the PNP since it was created.
He speak about health care and look at Portmore Hospital. He speak about health care and under his watch. Look at Portmore Hospital under his watch. Mr. Hughes, I would love you to get him on the program and let him tell you what he's done for Central St. Mary. I would love you to get him on the program and ask him what are 10 things that he's done for Central St. Mary that the people of Central St. Mary is benefiting from right now.
Mm-hmm.
They can't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
They can't tell you.
Isn't he on his way out now? Isn't he on his way out now to be replaced?
He's on his way out. But I mean, Mr. Newell is saying the government did not do anything for Central St. Mary. He cannot blame this JLP government for not doing anything for Central St. Mary. They have ruled us for 55 years, under his watch for 22 years.
That's Dr. Guy.
I'm counting.
That's Dr. Guy, Morris.
Yeah, Mr. Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they call him the right guy. So the right guy didn't give them a housing solution when he was the Minister of Housing for how many years?
Mm-hmm.
And people are buying to it. But sometimes I'm wondering if the people they are appealing to, if it's the same people that they give them placard and didn't even know what's on the placard. I think those are the type of people they are appealing to. Because reasonable Jamaican and Jamaican, they know that's not true. They know that's not true.
All right, sir. Thank you. 19 minutes going up to 8 o'clock.
Anthony, good evening.
Hey, Sharon and Chris, how you guys doing?
Very good.
All right. Chris, I want to drag your memory to something. Chris, I went to high school in 1988. All right, and this is in Westmoreland, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered when we were going to school, you had a Tata bus that we used to take. So we used to have to wake up early in the morning and walk up to the crossroad to catch the bus because it was really the one bus on the road and stuff, Cliff. And when we got into that bus, as somebody just said earlier, once the adults came into the bus, we have to give up the seats. And then we have to stand up and stuff and get all the screens and stuff that goes along with that. But I remember, Cliff, in about 1992, there was a school bus, same shape as this bus, that came into being and stuff. As a matter of fact, Cliff, I remember we used to call it the monkey train. But it was a bus, Cliff, that it picked up all of us as school children now, and we could take. And I used to live in a deep rural area called Grange. And the driver for the bus, he used to live in this area, Chris. But this bus used to take us to school, and it used to take only school children alone. And that brought a level of comfort to us as kids at the time. And I remember until this day that we weren't experienced before. We didn't have to be fighting with any adults for seat and whatever and stuff. I don't remember if we had to pay a fare or nothing. But the point I'm remembering is that was during the PNP time. I don't know. I know Dr. Blight was the MP at the time. I honestly, I don't remember if it was a government system or whatever, but I remember that we used to take that bus. That bus used to take us to school and back. And it was comfort for us as kids, but also for our parents, because one, our parents know the driver knows and everything, Chris. So, and there wasn't any warning and anything, but we had to behave because we did not want that driver to say, you misbehave or that person misbehave or whatever and all of that. So it is amazing, or it amazes me now that the PNP is really opposing something, please, that everybody, every well-thinking person will know that this is going to be something that is going to be beneficial to students and parents. Because, please, just imagine, you have that comfort to know that, okay, your kids are on a safe bus, the buses are being monitored by cameras and stuff, and please,
and you can monitor, you can also track the buses on your phone.
Right. But please, I need to throw this in because I came to the USA in 2017, all right? And my daughter started at middle school. And please, the exact same bus, same shape. I have pictures of at the start of every school here. Please, one time she's walking onto the bus. The bus pick up driver and pick her up at the start of every school term. I take a picture of her proudly stepping up in the bus, please, because it is comforting to me to know that, okay, this is a bus that is taking her to and from school. She graduated high school a couple months ago, Cliff. And you know what? She came and said, Daddy, I need to buy a card and something to give to the driver just to say thank you. That was how appreciated she was. Children in Jamaica need to have that feeling to Cliff, to know that, okay, we don't have to be struggling. We don't have to be hearing, we can't carry no, or you have to get up and give away a seat and all of those things. This is something that should be supported. And again, some things you just don't need to politicize. And that's what the PNP needs to understand.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Good.
And, it begs the question then, Cliff, why this specific issue have they decided to so obnoxiously attack?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, Siobhan. I can only speculate that they are on the ground. They would be picking up that it is something that has been received positively. Yeah? And remember now, the PNP political strategy for quite some time is to attack, criticize, almost without thinking through the policy implications. Just attack, criticize. Yeah? And it has blown up in their faces.
Because to the best of my knowledge, I don't believe Minister Vaz has done any attempt to overly politicize this issue. He's been very gracious in terms of how the buses are to be used, and he's not tried, to my knowledge, to use it in any kind of political maneuvering. So I found it very strange that they have adopted this position of essentially trying to write off the entire system, not even to suggest, well, we would have done it differently, but to entirely suggest that the system is either unnecessary or dangerous or unsafe. It seems surprising to me the way they've gone about attacking the system.
I don't know. Yeah, the behavior in recent times of Mark Golding's PNP has been schizophrenic in parts. Yeah. Ian, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Cliff and Siobhan.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes. Going a little away from politics. On Friday, I heard George speaking about the use of the police resources to monitor traffic. How he was saying oftentimes they're at certain locations to trap people in areas that are not so problematic. And if it wouldn't have been better for those resources to have been deployed in areas where, you have a lot of traffic breaches. I don't know if you know the traffic light by the intersection of Mountain View Avenue and Arthurway Drive, where you have a slip road.
Yes.
Yes.
Just to the north of the Stadium East field.
Right.
Uh-huh.
No, I mean, for years I've been using that slip road, whenever it's free, there's a giveaway sign, and you're easily moving when things are clear. Now, on Friday, my daughter got her first ticket, costing her $10,000, because, as usual, she comes up to that giveaway sign, the way is clear, and she moves to the left, heading up Arthurway Drive. And right there, you have a set of policemen ready to stop you to say that you have broken the red light. And that happened to her about 10 o'clock. I passed on there just before 12 o'clock and realized that they're still there doing that. Now, I don't know. I'd really like to be educated. Is in fact turning left by that intersection.
So she's traveling north along Mountain View Avenue, right?
Yes.
Good. So she comes to the slip road, which takes you to the left, right? Towards the northern part of the stadium, onto Arthurway Drive. Yeah?
Yes.
And the light going north from the slip road was still on red.
Was still on red, yes.
And they gave her a ticket because she used a slip road.
They gave her a ticket, and they gave many other persons, because, as I said, I went on there about 12 o'clock just because she had alerted me to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there and I was observing that was what was happening. So a lot of persons who, it's a norm. They just do that. So a lot of people must have been caught that day, trapping them on something that, as far as I'm concerned, unless things have changed, is just out of whack. And then when you think that it's $10,000, you have to go and pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
And it raises a question about the traffic light up by Waterloo and South Avenue, where often persons give way but turn left even on the lights there. And there are other intersections where you have situations like that. I can think of in Portmore.
Well, I tell you, sir, if it is illegal to do so on the red going further north, then I would have broken that road code, that law several times. Because it's something I do frequently, so long as the way is clear. If you're going to use a slip road.
Yeah, and
I didn't know.
This is what I'd really love to invite persons in the know to find that things have changed.
Yeah.
If you look in that red book that they use for road code,
Mm-hmm.
and they speak about slip road,
Yes.
they say that you can turn left, proceed as long as the way is clear,
Exactly.
regardless of what the light is saying.
That is what I recall from my learning to drive. Yeah.
So it raises a question, going back to what George said. Here it is. That area, not a problem. But you have policemen sitting down there for at least 2 hours, trapping people, issuing tickets for $10,000, when you have taxis breaking light at known locations and they're not there. So I'm just inviting whether or not maybe things have changed so that we can be educated. Can we?
Probably what you should do, you can do the citizenry a favor. You should ask your daughter to go to court and argue the case. And let's see. No, don't laugh. It's a serious matter. Yeah, if the red book says it is perfectly legal, then go to court. She has a ticket, go to court and say, Madam, Your Honor, yes, sir, let me explain and quote the section of the Walk With Our book and quote the section.
Maybe I should invite, because a lot of people would have been affected on Friday.
Yes.
Maybe we should invite those persons who are so affected Let things be known and go
to court. Yes.
But it's unfortunate that you have to waste the time to do
No. These things happen in a democracy, and it gives us an opportunity to test it.
Yeah, but I personally, I think that those policemen are just there on
I know what you're thinking. Don't go there, say it. Don't go there, say it. Go court, sir, and come back and tell me the outcome. Walk with a lawyer too.
Well, I'll have to see if she's prepared to, in quotation, waste her time over that, But I understand what you're saying, but it's just unfortunate that if something is so obvious that people have to suffer the pain points that you're talking about, we have enough stresses to bear for persons to be there trapping you on something that may not even be so.
Yeah. All right, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Good.
Mikey B, good evening.
Good evening, Siobhan.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. B.
I talked to you today, and I'm back here tonight. And Mr. Bunting, I think he's what? Opposition spokesman and what?
National security.
And when last you see a government going into an election, and the opposition spokesman can't speak on it, and national security can't speak on national security, Mr. Bunting is speaking on everything else except national security.
That is a hook to the left, a left hook.
And this is supposed to be a credit to the government. And I don't know. And believe me, I noticed that there's some sign name chug it where some people go and drink. I believe Mr. Bunting and Mr. Golden must have been coming from some chug it when them start to criticize a good system. I cannot believe that, as my Chevron was saying, that Mr. Vaz just lay out the thing. He didn't most politicized it. He would just lay out his plan. And they look at the plan and they feel threatened. Because this plan is so good that they feel threatened. So if this plan paid off, we are dead. And guess what? In a football match, there is extra time, they are under pressure, and they score an own goal. Mr. Hughes, you don't see this as an own goal?
Yes, sir. I've been saying it all evening.
Goal and it's extra time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can you criticize a good system? Plus, everybody knows, every poor Jamaican and every average Jamaican know the transportation, know the challenges with taxi. Are you going to encourage us?
Empower them taxi people there. The same people who abuse us over the decades. No.
And I think that's another miscalculation the People's National Party is making. They don't understand the depths of frustrations many Jamaicans have with taxi and minibus operators in this country. I can't think of much support. When the taxi operators and the bus operators go on strike, I don't see where there's an outpouring of support from the general public for them. And I think that's another miscalculation that the PNP is making here.
I'm not going to knock the upbringing of Mr. Golden and Mr. Bunting. But obviously somebody is not advising them and saying, listen to me, poor Jamaica never grow up and travel the way you travel. We suffer.
Yes.
So we see this thing, you can't call it old bus. You can't call it kill, our bus going to kill people. And I told you today, Mr. Hughes, that I want Nationwide to put up the amount of children that died over the last 10 years.
The principal of Homewood told Siobhan and I, between 2008 and 2013, he lost 9 at Homewood. One school, Homewood, between 2008 and 2013. 9.
And I can tell you that you cannot find 2 children traveling on the JUTC that lost their life over the past 10 years. And you're going to call it kill? You're overkilling the situation. It's a panic attack. PNP is losing it. And obviously they are advising they don't have a good plan and they are criticizing a great plan. How can you win election by that? By telling us that the sky is not blue and the sky and the water and the water can't wet the sheep.
I suspect by this time tomorrow we're going to get a clarification of the People's National Party's position on this matter.
could have spin it. They already scored a goal. Time is running out. The referee is looking at the watch. And at any time now, the match is about to blow off. And they still don't have a plan. Yes, I am a supporter of the Jamaica Labour Party. And I'm very happy that they continue scoring one goal. So, but...
all right, Mark, I hear you, but I hear you, but we're getting the wrap-up signal, so I have to leave it there. Thank you again for your call.
All right. That's how we're going to leave it for this evening. We want to say thanks to our producers, Dana Davey and Sonia Stewart, our technical operator, Andrew Anderson, Books, members of the news and production team, led by our editor, Cara Powell. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.